Hold up, let me fix this here. um, might just be my eyes. Things were looking a little blurry on the screen. Maybe that's just me. But coming to you with a brand new question, and I hope this is going to get political, but I hope we can keep it lighthearted. Um, the question is, what politicians are you inviting to the cookout? And this only accounts for politicians who are currently living. We're not talking about people from the past, just people presently. Who's invited to the cookout and why? And there's going to be a flip to this. Who's invited to the black cookout and who's invited to the white cookouts? And why? That's what I want to ask people. Um, the reason I had thought of that was I was watching a Vlad TV video with the comedian Aries Spears, and DJ Vlad asked Aries Spears, excuse me, he asked him uh, which which white singers would be invited to the cookout, and he was asking him would Elton John, Michael McDonald, um, Adele, um, uh, Daryl from Hall and Oates, and all these other folks, Bobby Caldwell, and and so it was funny, and I was like, well, since we're talking about elections and stuff, what politicians would people want to see at the election? I mean, sorry, what politicians would people want to see at the cookout? And obviously, it's going to depend on what is your political leanings and what you feel about particular candidates, right? So this this topic isn't based on a person's policies per se, although you might base it on that. I'm just basing it on whether you like this, like whether would be a sort of person you would sit down and hang out with, and whether this person you think would be friendly within your community, whether that's the black community, whether that's the white community, whether that's the Latino community, whether that's the indigenous community, or whether that's the Asian community. Who's allowed at the What politicians are allowed at your family cookout and why? That's what I want to answer. I mean, that's what I wanted to ask. I have some people whom I would invite to my cookout, but uh, I know for some of my family members, they wouldn't agree with whom I would bring. Um, so, well, I'm curious what you think. First response I got was a troll, so oh well, bully for him. So, yeah. So, would people invite Kamal? Is Kamal invited to some of you folks' cookout? Trump? Okay. Would some of you invite Trump? RFK Jr., Cornell West, Jill Stein, uh, Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, Michelle and Barack Obama. By the way, you don't have to bring both. If you like one or the other but don't like both, one of the Obamas can come and one of the others can stay. If you don't like both of them, that's perfectly fine. I'm not judging. This is this topic is non-judgmental. This is just what you guys think about that. What's up, BSK? Um, what's going on, Landon? Um, But yeah, so just trying to get a feel for that, guys. Like, unfortunately, I'm getting a lot of trolls. I would think at this time in the evening I would get less trolls, but apparently I was wrong. So be it. Um, might have to wear my reading glasses because I'm just not getting a lot of. I can't see and I don't want to squint. Who's trolling? Just people already talk. Some people already banned Duck. You probably couldn't even see the messages because it asked because since they were offensive, they uh they didn't even show. I can see them, um, but they probably didn't show up to you guys because I didn't allow them to be seen. So, all right, that's better. These are the chats have hate crimes in them. I swear. No, they really do. Like people, there are a lot of psychologically disturbed people out there, and they gravitate to social media because social media they can't there's no repercussions for them there. Fix my glasses here so they don't look all cockeyed. I don't like my glasses look cockeyed, but maybe that's fine. Hold up. Hold up. So stop. Trying to sound like childish Gambino. Um, Kenobi says none, maybe Bernie, but that's it. Look, Bernie is definitely invited to the cookout. Bernie was out there marching during the civil rights era. He was a he was a Jewish college kid from Brooklyn out there with the black folks during the civil rights march. He was actually out there during the time of King and stuff. Meanwhile, Hillary's that may be nice. Meanwhile, Hillary was a college Republican, and yes, they are about the same age, even though they look drastically different in their ages today. Yeah, they're about the same age. Meanwhile, Hillary had to figure things out first. She was a college Republican, and there's nothing wrong being a Republican, by the way. But I just find her whole political career completely disingenuous. And people say, well, sometimes people have to figure things out and have, no. Bernie has been the same man for like half a century now. He didn't have to figure things out. He was on the right side from the beginning, which is why I would vote for him again if he ran. But of course, Democrats can't have that. BSK says full ride athletics scholarship. Why Miss Obama has it better back than me? Well, it's probably because she works out to to be fair to her, to Michael Obama or Michelle. I'm sorry, she does work out. So, um, and before I put out who I will invite to the cookout, I want to get everyone else's. And again, this is not just the black cookout because not everyone here is black, right? So, who's invited to the Latino cookout? Who's invited to the white cookout? Who's invited to the indigenous cookout? Who's invited to the Asian cookout and why? Um, Critical Rick says Trump at the cookout. It's the thing, if you invite Trump, he's probably gonna bring McDonald's. Sorry guys, just got disconnected. I was saying, yeah, Trump. If you invite him to the cookout, he's probably gonna bring McDonald's. He's not bringing home cooked food. Now he might well his kids they might bring some food, but you invite Trump, he'll probably bring like a boatload of McDonald's, like he did for that college team that won that won the national championship, and he bought the McDonald's, and people was like, man, that was such a letdown. But they had, I don't think they understood that for Trump, like he likes McDonald's. So for him, that wasn't him being cheap. That was he sharing something that he actually likes with them. And I think people misunderstood that. He said that was a joke attempt. My fault, BSK. I know it was a joke. I was just saying, like, she she is manly, I'll say, but I love McDonald's too, Naza. I don't care what folks say. My problem with McDonald's is the false inflation of their food. A friend and a friend of of mine, we were just talking about that a few days ago. How a lot of these fast food places have um, inflated their prices for no other reason, just for like gout, uh, just for they can claim the profits. Like they're just gouging people at this point because the prices they're inflated, the prices that they so-called inflated them to don't reflect the current cost of living. Um, BSK says, but she do have a freakish 200-meter butterfly back though. I don't look at her that way because she's not attractive to me, so I've never looked at her in that sort of way. So, plus, I mean, she's old, so I never really looked at her like that. I haven't looked at any of the first ladies in the sense of whom would I bang. So I'm just talking about whom would I invite to the cookout. That's all I'm saying. Like just based on people's like likes or dislikes of certain candidates, and this, and I don't mean just presidential candidates. I mean like, so we can talk about congressional politicians, judges, local mayors and governors, all that sort of stuff. Whom would you invite? I already, like Kenobi said, I'm definitely inviting Bernie. Bernie is definitely invited. BSK says she old. She is old. She's like in her 50s. That's in women years. Yes, that's pretty old. Guys, we look more refined um, in our 40s and 50s. They don't. So, um, who else would I? I mean, whom else would I invite? Um, Honestly, not a lot of politicians. Cornell West can come. He look like he's look like that dude gonna bring some cornbread or something. um, Trump's Trump's daughter can come. I bet she can. But um, you know what? Trump is kind of funny. He's he would be like the uncle or the friend of the friend of the family that you invite over that you don't know what they're gonna say, but it's probably gonna be something inappropriate and funny at the same time. Trump can come to my cookout now. I know for the rest of my family, they'll be like hell to the no, but I don't. I can't speak for the rest of my family, and my and my family definitely don't speak for me. Uh, Kenobi says Obama's daughters, but not him and Michael. Yeah, his daughters are cool, but yeah, I don't want either one of I don't want Barack or Michael at my cookout. I don't need him like, so Ahmad, I think it's time for you to flip over the hot dogs. Like, shut up. Shut your bitch ass up and sit down and choke on a glizzy. Let me stop. All right, let me stop. Let me stop. But BSK says true that 50 ain't always bad though. I can't understand some of the stuff you saying BSK like with the you use too many of the emojis and stuff. Corn star. Oh, which I think if you flip the C to the P, I get it. Um, I don't know any 50-year-old adult entertainers I would. Well, no, that's not true. If they're Asian, probably. um, but yeah, um, yeah, the Obama daughters can come, but yeah, their parents can't because I don't rock with them. Um, um, Bill Clinton can, but Hillary can't. I'll invite Bill, but Hillary can't come. She's gonna be sitting there pretending like she's probably gonna have her little hot sauce in her purse. Like, see, I told you I really put keep hot sauce in my purse. Like, shut up. No, you don't. And she'll probably be at the cookout trying to code switch. Um, but yeah, Bill can come. Hillary and Chelsea can stay. Hillary and Chelsea not are not invited to my cookout. Um, Elizabeth Warren can stay. I don't want her there either. Because yeah, they don't crack easy reputation. Um, Tulsi can come. Tulsi Gabbard can come. She's Hawaiian, so she's actually a minority woman, even though you may not realize it. She can come. Nikki can stay. Nikki is not coming. Nikki Haley, no. Vivek, Vivek can come. Vivek can come. Yeah, just politicians, not singers. We're not talking about Taylor Swift or anything like that. It's talking about just talking about what politicians would you invite to the cookout because that's always like a discussion, like like in like uh, especially within black discussions, black people will say what white person would they invite to the cookout, and they usually referring to like different celebrities or politicians or whatever. So um, I'm opening up the field. So for people, be a case as the Minnesota governor, Tim Walz. Yeah, he definitely wouldn't be coming to my cookout. Um, but is he invited to yours? He's at Pocahontas with Elizabeth Warren. She's a senator. She's not a Minnesota governor. Unless the Minnesota governor is Tim Walz, I think. Um, Andrew Yang. Um, I don't have any beef with him. Plus, he won. He was actually trying to get a uh, um, what do you call it with the money for everyone to have all citizens to have like they do in Alaska. Yeah, the UBI, Universal Basic Income. And yeah, Andrew can come. Hopefully he can. Hopefully he'll bring some food with him. I don't know what region of China his family is from, but bring it on. Right? Um, he's invited. I don't have any beef with Andrew Yang. Shit, he beat some people remember this. When during the 2020 Democratic primary, uh, what's her name? Kamala Harris. She didn't win one single state in the primaries. In fact, she lost her own state. She's a senator of California, was the former state's attorney. I mean, former attorney general and former state's attorney there. She couldn't even win California. Andrew Yang won California. So, yeah. And so, Kamala's not invited. That, no. Nah, she can stay right the fuck where she is. Detroit man says reparations 2024. That would be nice, but I don't think we're getting it. And if she gets elected, you can definitely know she's not going to give it to her because tethers like her don't believe black people should have reparations. They're just as bad as, like, well, but yeah. BSK says, damn, the hot female governor, Dakota, maybe. Yeah, she's not the Minnesota governor. That's Tim Walz. Like, people, like I said, no one even knew who Tim Walz was, other than he bungled the Black Lives Matter protests several years ago. That's his only claim to fame, that people would know him as the governor of Minnesota. He's when you order Bernie Sanders on Temu, you get Tim Walz instead. Kenobi says, if California offers zero down to illegals, I might be voting for Trump. I think, did they pass it? I thought they did. Did they already pass it, or I don't know or is that going to be up during the election? But it's already, they're going to vote on it if they haven't already. That's crazy. Um, but the fact they're offering zero down to illegals for housing in California, guys, one of the most expensive housing markets in the country. California is one of the most expensive housing markets in the country, if not the world. Because if California was its own country, it would probably be like one of the fifth richest nations in the world. And it's very hard to find affordable housing in California. Anytime you have a couple who are both doctors who are saying it's difficult for them to buy a nice house in California, then what chance does the average income earner have? The average income earner being about 50,000, and then you're gonna offer zero down to illegal migrants. I'm voting. Like I said, like I said several months ago, I'm voting Trump all the way. Like, I'm voting Trump and Republican all the way down to ticket in Maryland. That's because that's ridiculous. You already have a Venezuela gang take over an entire apartment complex in Colorado, and what's being done about that? Like, they're literally kicking people out of their homes in this apartment complex. Like, this is New Jack City from 1991. And from what I'm hearing, they're kicking out a lot of these black people who live in those apartment complexes. Oh, yep, I thought it already passed, Kenobi. Yeah, it already passed. Like I said, I'm voting Trump, and I hope there's a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth when he wins from all these liberals and so-called progressives. People, I say so-called progressives because real progressives wouldn't lash themselves onto authoritarian um, tactics to get their their views made into policy, but they don't care about that. Anywho, that's why I'm not progressive anymore. But um, BSK says, AKA never real coach Tim S. Yeah. So anyway, he said it appears they get a free 150,000 down payment as well. What? They get a free $150,000 down payment. So are they doing this through FHA? That's crazy. BSK says, old Elon Musk nailed from California, permanent. Nailed? What you mean? You mean moved from California? But yeah, that's crazy. Like, so now they're getting free housing. They get like $10,000 on EBT cards. Oh, bailed. Okay. Um, they get to commit crimes with impunity, and they're and they have brought them in and expedited their citizenship here just to have more people, more just to have more non-white minority ethnic minority groups here in America during the election season. That's crazy. So, like I said, Biden definitely isn't fucking invited to my cookout. He can take his senile ass somewhere else. He pulled too much shit in the last 40 years for him to be invited to my family cookout. Again, I don't speak for the rest of my family. I only speak for my family when I'm talking about my wife, myself, and my in-laws who live with us. That's my family I'm referring to. So we're a multi-ethnic we're a multi-ethnic family of uh, blacks and Filipinos. Okay, um, but yeah, Biden isn't coming to my cookout. Like the larger family cookout, they invite Biden. I'm not coming. This case is Texas. They just did a huge voter roll cleanup. It's monumental. Okay. Um, but yeah, it's a bunch of other politicians, guys. Are there any Supreme Court justices you're inviting? Guess who I'm inviting? Who, this is who I'm inviting back to the Black Cookout. I'm inviting Clarence Thomas back to the cookout. We've thought he was a sellout for years, and just while I don't agree with all his adjudications, some of the stuff he was for, I mean, or against rather, has actually been for the betterment of the black community, and people didn't realize it. When he was against uh, shmortion, one of the reasons he's against a shmortion is that it would actually hurt the black community, but people don't realize that. One of the reasons he was for getting rid of affirmative action, even though he was someone who benefited from it in his early career, was that it was no longer being used to actually help the original people for whom it was intended, which was foundational black Americans. Instead, it was mostly being used by white women and immigrants. So Asians just found that out the hard way when they realized that they're getting passed up in admission in undergraduate admissions across the nation without these affirmative action policies, because a lot of schools don't want them because they feel that the, the Asian students are overrepresented in in their in their um in their admissions. Bully for them. So now they have to compete for the same coveted spots as all those legacy students. Whoops. Whoops. So Grant says I'm literally going to a cookout in Baltimore this weekend. Man, stay safe. It's crazy out here, man. I'm here in Baltimore. It's both Kenobi and I can confirm it's crazy out here. Be safe. um, Kenobi says he was taking bribe money, but that's not exclusive to him. Yeah, it really wasn't. He said, but I do agree with him on affirmative action. He said I added soy sauce and Asian tears to my fried rice once they found out. Speed of which I need to check on my rice in a few minutes. Um, but yeah, um, they got led astray, and I don't feel sorry for them because as smart as they are, they should have known. They should have saw that they were being used as the as another spin on the whole token minority thing. So whatever. But Andrew Yang again, he's invited to the cookout. Cool dude. He actually was looking to do a UBI if he was elected. Um, he started his own political party too, although his party is more about selecting candidates who are already, I guess, in the running as opposed to running their own individual, like their own candidates themselves. I don't know how that's going. What's up, Asia? Um, who else is invited, guys? Are you inviting AOC? I'm kind of split on AOC. Like, As long as she's not talking politics, she can come. I would allow AOC as long as she keep the politics to herself. She's Puerto Rican. She might bring some good stuff. I'm sorry. I would have to bring AOC. She's annoying as hell, but she's from the Bronx. She's Puerto Rican. She's gonna bring. I'm thinking she's bringing something to the. She's bringing something to the cookout. Um, Rashida Tlaib. No, she's not. I don't need to be hearing that free Palestine shit. At the cookout. Um, Nor is that black chick from Somalia. She's not. I don't want her there either. Can always as long as she brings some baddies and doesn't talk. Which one? You talking about Rashida? Or you talking about AOC? AOC. Okay. Um, yeah, that's what I said. As long as she's not talking politics, she good, and she can dance. She can dance, so she's gonna dance at the cookout if they play music. So she's good on that front. Um, and she's probably gonna hang with Bernie. she's going she's gonna probably be hanging around with Bernie, like acting like his little niece or something. Um, who those other people in the so-called um, progressive caucus? None of I'll be I'll just say straight up. Other than AOC, none of them are invited. Just Bernie and AOC. Now I don't care if AOC, I don't care if Bernie talks politics because people will listen to him even if they don't agree with him because of his voice. But AOC, no, I don't need to hear her rantings. Not at all. Um, Trying to go up. What's her name? Definitely isn't coming. Who's the chick that does the CrossFit? She cannot come. She just looks like she's annoying. She looks like she puts raisins in her mayonnaise. Um, who's the CrossFit chick? You know, the one the other congressional leader made fun of, bad built, bleach blonde, whatever her name is. Dude, if you come in here using Arabic, Farsi, or any other foreign language that's not using Alpha Romic, using Roman numerals, I'm just gonna time you out because you need to use English. Marjorie Taylor Greene, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. She's definitely not invited. She's gonna bring the potato salad with the raisins in it. She's not coming. I already see she'll bring something weird, or she'll put she'll put like mayonnaise on barbecue ribs or something. Marjorie Taylor Greene's not coming, but Trump is. Like I said, Trump is gonna probably say something inappropriate and funny at the same time. Can always say she's gonna call the police and make a false charge. Right. Then she's gonna get beat up by someone's auntie. Marjorie's gonna like, end up getting slapped up by somebody's auntie. Trump is the drunk uncle that's embarrassing. Yeah. Well, actually no, because he doesn't even drink. He's just the no. He's just the baby boomer like uncle or really old cousin that everyone treats like an uncle. That says like off the wall shit. But he's not even a drinker. He's just gonna be he will be embarrassing though. He's gonna say funny stuff that's embarrassing, but he's you just kind of let him go with it because he's fun, and he probably brings like food and chips and stuff like McDonald's. But hell yeah, he's not bringing any home cooked food. Trump is bringing McDonald's, but he's gonna hook you up. It's gonna be like 100 Big Macs and fries and stuff all out there. And he gonna be the one sitting there trying to dance with the little two-step thing, and they bite their lip and they're like, But yeah, I don't know who LA85 is asking who can speak English. Like I said, if he's talking to Chicken Man Heisenberg, yeah, he needs to use English and not use uh, use Arabic or Farsi or whatever that is. Cause I don't need any little terrorist shit on my channel. And yeah, I said it. um, who else? Are we inviting JD Vance? Or is that his name? Is it J? That's it. Is it JD Vance? Right? I think I said that right. We're inviting him. Honestly, other than what people have been saying about him recently, I don't know very much about him. To be quite honest, I don't know very much about the politician. All I hear is everything that people hate about him on the left recently, and now and then there's people on the right who don't like him because they don't think he's a genuine. They don't. They don't think he he's a genuine country bumpkin. But so what? I don't care about that. Um, I haven't decided whether he would come to the cookout or not, unless Trump invites him, and I have a feeling Trump wouldn't. uh, but the funny thing is, people on the left hate him because he's now Trump's VP, but they had no problem when he spoke against Trump 2 years ago, or was it 3 years ago, whenever it was. They had no problem with him talking bad about Trump. Now they, now that he was selected by Trump, now they don't like him. So I don't like people being. I don't like how people are fickle like that. But like I said, I'm undecided with him coming. Larry Hogan, former governor of Maryland, now running for Congress. I'm gonna say no. No to Larry Hogan. Um, he's not coming to the cookout. And but it's not just because he's white or that he's Republican. Because the current Maryland governor, who is a Democrat and black and male, he's not invited either. That's what's that clown's name? Westmore. Westmore. Neither Westmore nor Larry Hogan are invited to the cookout. Neither one. I wouldn't invite either one. But you know whom I would invite? The former vice governor, Steele, whatever his name is. Um, Black guy. He served under. I think he served under both Hogan and was it Ehrlich or and um, whoever. But yeah, the dude. Did I say vice governor? I'm sorry, lieutenant governor. The lieutenant governor Steele. But I can't remember his first name. I don't know if it's Michael Steele or whatever, but he's invited to the cookout. He's a cool black dude. He's a Republican, but he's a moderate Republican. He's a his views don't seem completely screwed up. Like he seems all right. Um, Pretty much no one from the Obama team can come. I don't want anyone from the from the Obama administration to come really, except well, mm, I won't say everyone can't come. I'll have to think about that. But you know who else can come? That people be like, dude, you bugging. Because people probably think I'm bugging because I say Trump can come. I'm gonna say Bush can come. Bush Jr. Because he's the drunk uncle. Trump isn't the drunk uncle. Trump is just the uncle that says a lot of out of pocket shit. Bush is the drunk uncle. He's the drunk uncle. This fun. Yeah, Bush Jr. He can come to the cookout. But what's his former VP? Hell no, he can't come. Dick, whatever his name is, yeah, he can't come. Bush Jr. Bush. That's what I'm talking about. Halo there. Bunch of social paths. Well, again, I'm not talking as far as a matter of policy. I'm just talking about whom I think would be fun to be at the cookout. And I was saying Bush Jr. can definitely come because he would probably be like the drunk uncle. Um, and Bush Jr. can probably fight. If you ever seen someone throwing their boots at him, he dodged them twice. Biden, he just got knocked out by the boots, or someone threw boots at him. But yeah, but Bush Jr. he can come to the cookout. But pretty much everyone else from his administration cannot come. Oh no, that's not true. Condoleezza Rice can come. A lot of black people hated Condoleezza Rice, but guess what? She said she prefers to date black men. Most people wouldn't even realize that. They probably think she was. They probably just thought she was like someone who would settle down with a white guy. She was single when they were in uh, during those years. I don't know if she ever got married or whatever, but she actually was in an interview. She said she actually likes black. She prefers to date black men. So she can come to the cookout because she might find somebody. Cool as Kamala will make America awesome again. Well, I rather America. I just rather America be good, not awesome again. I don't know when it was awesome, but well, again, we're not gonna get. I don't want to. I'm not gonna get into any debate on that. But Kamala is definitely not invited to my cookout, nor will she ever be. She needs to decide what she actually is first. And I don't need. And we don't need someone who's gonna be coming to the cookout looking to lock people up. So yeah, she's not invited to my cookout, but if she's invited to yours, that's cool. Um, so obviously, the black people quite split on a lot of this stuff, so I can't claim to speak for everyone. Um, but what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna take a quick break to check on my rice, and I'm gonna leave you to this awesome ambient music in the background. It's Be Still Warrior, deep cinematic ambient music for ADHD relief and flow state. So, guys, you can rock to that real quick, and I shall return. Okay, give me like 8 minutes or so. Right back. All right, I am back, guys. Um, do you guys like that lo-fi music? It's like a Batman sort of music. It's like AI generated music where they stretch it out. It can last. This is like a 10 hour. Yeah. This music can goes on for like 10 hours, so you can study to it, go to sleep to it, um, maybe um, do whatever, something relaxing. But in any case, sorry for the delay. So um, after I finish this, I'm gonna finish my fried rice. I'm actually missing some good ingredients for it, but we're gonna make it do what it do. But let me. But yeah. So guys, who else we inviting to the cookout? So I've already given my whom I would invite to the cookout, and I was trying to name off a bunch of politicians, but of course there's so many, and I'm not just talking about on the federal scene, like on the national scene, like we can talk about local and state politicians where you guys live as well. Like I named some from Maryland, like I was talking about Larry Hogan and Westmore and some other folks, but if this doesn't generate a lot of uh, conversation within the chat, then we'll just end it so that I can get back to finishing cooking my food. Um, Hold on, let me change this chat filter. Just checking the comments, guys. But all right, so now I can see all the uh, all the comments without having to show or hide. Let's see what else. Oh, apparently I can start a poll within the chat. I didn't know I could do that. So I'm learning new stuff as we go, guys. Bomb Cherry Juice says hello. What's up, Bomb Cherry? It sounds like a very suggestive username. All right, so what I'm gonna start doing. Nice to meet you as well. Thank you. So what I'm gonna do, guys, since I'm asking who's invited to the cookout, there's a poll thing I can do on here. I'm gonna try to enter these poll questions, and you can vote yes or no who's invited to the cookout. Okay. So the first one is gonna be a predictable one, I think. Um, see if I can do this correctly. First time I'm doing this, guys, so rock with me for a second. This is your first time in my chat, in my live stream, Bomb Cherry. All right, see if I can pass this. All right, here's one. That says Obama invited to the cookout. Oh, welcome here. I have a A lot of controversial content as per my name, Just A Contrarian. Some which you'll probably agree, a lot that you may not. Um, and I usually try to live stream once a day. Oh, so we got 50-50 yes and no already. Uh, Arturo says if Camilla, the president, is going to be a nightmare and a disastrous. Hold up. How do I minimize this poll? Okay. And a disastrous what? You never finished it. Who's Camilla? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who's Camilla? Oh, Kamala. I'm sorry. He. I think he meant Kamala. I was like, where? I was like, who the hell is Camilla? He said if Kamala is going to be the president's, is going to be a nightmare and disastrous. I think that's what he's trying to say. Bomb traces. At least we would still have freedom in America. Would we though? So this is why I'm a political independent, bomb Jerry, because I see both sides doing the same stuff, and then like everyone kind of ignores when it happens on their team, but points it out when the other team does it. So people always want to say, um, you know, accuse conservatives and Republicans of doing stuff that's undemocratic, and yes, sometimes they do, but so do the Democrats. Look at all the undemocratic things they've done in 2016, how they shut Bernie Sanders out of the Democratic primaries. And I mean, we actually have the emails to prove it. Then they even went to court and argued and won this, by the way, won this decision in court that technically the DNC is a corporation, and as hence as a corporation, they can decide who will be the leader and front runner of their party. Um, and the court decided agreed with them. They said yes, the Democratic National Committee is a corporation, and hence they can choose whom they want to be their leader and front runner in national elections for their party, which means the which means the votes literally don't matter. If the voters vote for someone whom the DNC doesn't think will be their strongest candidate, they can choose to ignore those votes and go with whomever they want, regardless of regardless of who gets the most delegates. That's completely undemocratic. They're literally saying, "Hey, we're a corporation and we'll pick whom we want." That's very undemocratic. And the way they did Bernie Sanders, like the email saying, "How can we get rid of this dude?" That was that was that was undemocratic. Um, Look at what came out. Mark Zuckerberg admitting that the Biden administration pressured them to censor any information coming out about the Hunter Biden laptop investigation and about any information coming out against COVID-19 that didn't go with the information that they were putting out to the public. If it went against that, they wanted it to be counted as misinformation, disinformation, had those people silent, shadow banned, kicked off the platform, whatever. And Mark Zuckerberg says, unfortunately, they went along with it. That's very undemocratic. So you're literally taking away people's First Amendment rights. And if if Meta, Google, X, and Amazon and those other platforms decided they didn't want to go with it, they were going to strip away Section 230, which is a important clause written in 1996 that allows social media apps to do what they do, where it keeps them from liability for what their people on their platform say and do on the platform. They're not held liable for those people.
those people themselves will be held legally responsible for what they say or do on those platforms, but the not the people who run those platforms themselves. That's called Section 230. They were saying if these companies were not willing, if these tech companies were not willing to do what the government says, they will strip away their Section 230 clause and make them liable to anything that happens on those platforms, which would basically, again, take away people's First Amendment rights because those platforms would then be held liable for anything people say or do. And then the third thing that was undemocratic was what they did both to Biden himself and to the Democratic voters when the DNC forced Biden to step down from the election because his corporate donors were backed out. When his corporate donors said were backing out because they realized that this guy is suffering a, a cognitive decline or early onset dementia, whatever you want to call it, they said he wasn't the right man for the job anymore. And the DNC held a private meeting and they said they made him step down. Like, I I think he should have stepped down anyway, and I think he was doing a disservice to to both the country and to his Democratic base by running for re-election. But that was his decision to make. But when the DNC told him he had to step down, that's undemocratic. And on top of that, they just said, "Well, we're putting Kamala in place." So once he stepped down, they should have ran a primary. They should allow the Democratic voters to decide whom they wanted to run, whom they wanted to be the front runner to run against Trump. It shouldn't have been just Kamala being anointed as the front runner for the Democratic Party, especially since she's probably one of the weakest candidates to be the front runner. She couldn't even win her own state back in 2020. Andrew Yang won it. Um, she couldn't even win her own. She couldn't even win her own state. Like usually, people might not do well in the primary, but they usually win their own state from whichever state they hail, where they were politicians on a local or state level. She was a U.S. junior senator of California and couldn't even win her own state. Andrew Yang did, who's never been in politics before. He was just a he was just an entrepreneur. So that's my beef with the, with people thinking that Kamala is going to be the one who bears freedom to us, or Democrats in general, because again, both parties can be very undemocratic when the when the when the means justify their ends. So I think that's fair. I think that's a fair thing to say. Toro says Kamala. You gotta spell her name right, man, because you confuse me when you keep saying Camilla. So Toro says Kamala has yet to talk any of the topics or strategy. Talk about any of her. What I'm trying to fix it. Kamala has yet to talk of any of talk any of the topics dealing with her strategy for any of the issues the country is going through. Okay, spelling. Sorry, gotcha. Bomb Cherry says they don't know how to spell. Remember, that's not fair. That's 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 not fair. She says they can is true. Bomb Cherry says Republicans can also. I don't know what Tiny is talking about, but he sounds like he needs to be timed out. Um, Bomb Cherry says they choose the person more likely to win. So what happened? The reason why the DNC also act this way, and again, it's very undemocratic, was because there was a presidential candidate who won the Democratic primary in the 80s, and they thought he was too progressive, and hence that's why he lost the election towards with the Republican frontrunner. Um, I I think this was I don't know if this was Dukakis or this was the guy before Dukakis who ran against Reagan, because I think Dukakis ran against Bush Senior, George Bush Senior, and he lost. And people were saying, I think they were complaining that he was too progressive. So this the DNC put in this complicated political machine with the super delegates and all this sort of stuff to kind of make sure that only the strongest candidate, when they mean strongest, they mean neoliberal. They want a neoliberal establishment candidate, someone who can be bought and owned by the corporate donors to 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 be the Democratic frontrunner from thence on. And this happened, like I said, this happened as a something that came out of the 80s when there was a Democratic frontrunner who was considered very progressive, and ever since then the Democrats have thought that was the reason that they lost, because they need to triangulate the way the Clintons did back in the 90s. They Ever since the Clintons, they thought that the winning strategy is the whole triangulate sort of idea in politics. Maybe so, but at what cost when you divide your own base? And if a progressive candidate wins becomes the front runner, that literally means that's whom people want. They're thinking, well, yes, this person may overperform in the Democratic primaries, but when it comes to the general election, when they have to deal with people who are more conservative and independent, that that progressive person is not going to perform well with those people, and that's just not that's that's not necessarily true. So Arturo says Democrats don't know what to talk about, but climate control. Is climate control going to pay my bills? It's going to keep illegal aliens from killing our children. I mean, yeah, you have a point. I do believe in. I mean, I do think climate change is a serious issue, and I have since the '90s, when it was brought to my attention as a kid when I was in the seventh grade back in like back in 1989, 1990, or whatever. But um, it is a serious issue. But I think that the way is they go about it is completely um, it's quite wrongheaded, especially when you have these people who are basically becoming like eco terrorists, like sitting there like throwing paint on like the Mona Lisa or the Stonehenge. Like, how is defacing art and art or national like I don't know um, national historical sites or whatever gonna help with climate change? Besides that, besides that, they go around doing that stuff in countries that aren't even the biggest polluters. Why don't all these little people splashing paint on art and on historic sites go to the places where they're the hugest polluters, like China? They won't go to China because you know why? Because they know they'll get their asses thrown in prison if they did, if not worse. I like to see one of these little eco warriors going off to China and defacing part of the Great Wall of China, or going to the Forbidden City and defacing uh, Chinese property there. They're gonna find themselves in prison, missing an organ, because that's the big one of the biggest polluters. in the world is China. Beijing looks hard like Beijing looks like the 80s, looks like LA from the 80s, probably worse with all the smog there. Like, but they won't do that. So I mean, people who are really serious about climate change, we know whom the biggest polluters are. It's not America. It's not the UK. So he has a point. He Arturo has a point. And again, the kind of it is at the end of the day, it is the economy. This is why even the Clintons, like I think this, I don't know whether they borrowed the phrase or they coined the phrase themselves, but it's the economy, stupid. At the end of the day, yes, it's the economy, and all those other facets of 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 the of social issues we worry about can be tied into the economy. Whether we're talking about climate change, whether we're talking about illegal immigration, because why are people immigrating in the first place? If we're if we're talking about price gouging with food and gas, um, if, if we're talking about national security, um, who pays for national security, right? At the end of the day, it's the economy, stupid. The economy and national defense or security. So, Bomb Trey says that's not true. They asked people to stop spreading misinformation. No, so that's not what they did. They actually, again, Mark Zuckerberg has gone on record, is in every newspaper right now, from the Wall Street Journal to the Washington Post to the New York Times to the New York Post to the Boston Globe to the Chicago Sun to the San Francisco Bee or whatever it's called, the LA Times. They told him he had the Biden administration told that man what he needed to do with his company, and he wasn't the only one. Google got it too. YouTube used to censor the shit out of people if they said anything that went against what the Biden administration put out about COVID-19. People people were getting deplatformed off of YouTube, and I'm not talking about regular like content creators. I'm talking about news station like the Rising the Hill is a legitimate news media, um, that's on available on YouTube and other social media platforms. They were they they were removed for several days off of YouTube for saying something that went against what the government put out about COVID-19, and they are not a far left, far right, conservative, progressive news media outlet. If anything, they lean left. Like they're like a moderate, they're a moderate to liberal type of um, news outlet. They were censoring people. Not to mention that people forget that until there was a lot of uproar 2 years ago, the Biden administration was going to open up an office of misinformation under the Department of Homeland Security. Until a lot of people made a huge out uproar about it, saying that this was very Orwellian. So no, it wasn't just about them stopping spread of misinformation. And again, First Amendment rights. You're telling people you're censoring speech when so most people misunderstand First Amendment violations. A First Amendment violation is when the government itself censors people from speaking or expressing themselves. That's a First Amendment violation. It's not when private companies do it, it's when the government does it. And that's a First Amendment violation when the government comes down to a social media platform and says, hey, you need to censor people saying X, Y, and Z if it goes against what we want the public to know about COVID-19. That is First Amendment violations. And on top of that, how are they? stopping the spread of misinformation when their very director of the NIH, Anthony Fauci, was putting out misinformation himself. He was putting out misinformation, and he even admitted to it reluctantly when the disease first became global. He told the public that we don't need to mask up, just keep social distancing and washing your hands and using hand sanitizer. Then a month or two later, he says, no, everyone needs to be wearing masks, but they need to be wearing N95 or KN95 masks because that's the only thing that will spread to stop the spread of the illness. Then a few months later, he says, well, actually, just wearing any mask will stop the spread of stop the spread of the illness, regardless of whether it's a N95 surgical mask or not. Just wear it, something across your face, covering your nose and mouth to stop the spread of the disease. Then, and by the way, this wasn't just the Biden administration because Fauci was doing this both under Trump's administration and Biden's administration. And the fact the vaccine first came out under Trump, and people on the left were saying they weren't going to take it because they didn't trust Trump. But as soon as Biden got into office, the very same vaccines that were out, then everyone was saying, oh, we must all take it. People on the left, that is. But people on the right were saying they weren't going to take it either way when it was under Trump or Biden. They was like, I'm not taking it. So at least they were being consistent, even if they were wrong-headed. At least they were being consistent. Whereas people on the left were saying, I don't trust this vaccine from Trump. Then as soon as Biden get in office, the very same vaccines, they're like, oh yeah, well, yeah, we must all take it. And so then the edict came down from Fauci again. Everyone needs to take the vaccine and get the booster shot, but still wear your mask. Then several months later, he was like, all right, well, if you've gotten your, your vaccine and your two booster shots, uh, then you don't need to mask up anymore, but you should still social distance. Then it came down again. Well, actually, no, you should still keep wearing your mask. And I'm not even gonna get into the era when they was telling us to all double mask, and I did that like a dummy. So I was believing anything Fauci said, but he had people literally wearing double masks, looking like morons, and I did it. I did it myself. So, but yeah, misinformation was coming from the government and coming from private people online. So it, censorship by the government is a First Amendment violation and very undemocratic. Toro says we have open borders. Whose fault is that? It's the government's, but I can't blame that on just one particular administration because we've had problems with our borders for the last few decades. Uh, Toro says we have illegal aliens murdering our people like Laken Riley. What do you think about those apples? I think he's um, asking that towards Bomb Cherry. Let me check this poll, by the way, guys. Um, so far, with the Obama invited to the cookout, 33 people said yes, 67% said no. So I'm gonna end this poll. I'm gonna start another one because it's fun. Bomb Cherry says they should be held liable. They allow people to lie, threaten people, and dox people. No, but so I think you're missing my point though. So what I'm saying is, yes. So you're saying that so I get what you're saying that the streaming, so these social media platforms should be held liable for what people say, but understand, and by the way, I used to agree with that as well, but I find that the more I thought about it, I realized that I was wrong because yes, I'm one of those people who hated Facebook and still do, and Instagram, anything owned by Zuckerberg. But at the same time, I have to look at the larger picture. I can't let my personal distaste for how Zuckerberg runs his companies to be a blight on all social media because allowing people to freely express themselves on these platforms gives voice to everyone, which leads to a marketplace of ideas. Having a marketplace of ideas doesn't mean all the ideas are going to be good. Some will be bad, some will be dangerous, some will be just outright stupid. But it's important as in having a marketplace of ideas that people are allowed to express bad ideas as well as good ideas. Only by shining the light of reason on these ideas can we you know be able to disagree, doubt, correct, modify erroneous beliefs. And we won't have that if they get rid of that Section 230 clause, which would basically make social media very restrictive. And then think about everyone who, well, then there's all the people who make a living through content creation. That will be done unless they're just talking about very benign topics like 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 cat videos or something like that. But anytime you voice any sort of opinion, that'll be heavily restricted. I don't think that would be a good idea getting rid of that Section 230 clause. Should it be modified? Maybe they need to modify Section 230, but to end but to end it, that would be a horrible idea just to keep certain undesirable people off, um, keep them from voicing dangerous and erroneous beliefs online. People need to start using their critical thinking skills. Like you can't hold other people responsible for people believing them. What you what what I think needs to happen though is there needs to be better algorithms developed by the social media that don't just like Facebook used to do, will actually flood you with negative posts, like when people react to like things that are like outrageous or things that upset them, they'll get more of that content in their news feed because people are more likely to react to that. They need to fix that. But again, I don't think that comes by getting rid of Section 230 because I'm one of those big free speech advocate type guys. I'm a classical liberal, so classical liberals actually believe in the stuff that American liberals and American progressives used to believe in, which is things like, freedom of speech and expression, and freedom of thought, and political freedom, and economic freedom, and religious freedom, and democracy, and the pursuit of reason. Those are the things that uh, classical liberals believe in, and what people on the left used to embrace, but now they don't. Not the American left, anyway. So, Arturo says Hunter Biden, you're the greatest son. Go hide that laptop. Oh, it's too late for that. Bomb Chair says you're talking about corporations. What they do or not do has nothing to do with democracy. Yes, it does. And I'm not talking about just any corporations. I'm talking about this pertains particularly to to um, tech companies, particularly within the sphere of social media. Google, Meta, X, Amazon. These are the big four, right? But um, yes, I'm for free speech. If you stifle Section 230, it holds these companies liable for anything people say on their platforms, which means that they will restrict people's ability to voice voice their thoughts and opinions online. I don't see why you don't catch that part. If they're held liable for the things that individuals say or do on their platforms, instead of holding those individuals themselves accountable for that stuff, that means that people, that means that those companies will restrict heavily anything people say or do on them. That's what I don't think you're getting. I'm not saying don't go after individuals and hold them accountable for saying or doing dangerous things online. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they shouldn't hold these tech companies responsible for these individuals. Otherwise, it will punish everyone in doing so, because when you take away that that particular immunity to them, then they will heavily restrict their platforms and basically police everything people say or do on those platforms, so that people won't be able to have freedom of of expression on those platforms anymore, just because of a few rotten apples. Uh, Tori, you all over the place, man. He says everything is tight and together. He just together. You got to try to sharpen up the spelling, because it's hard for me to understand what you're trying to say. Everything is tight and together. We just guys want to cover it all up. That's it. But I'm sorry, I can't understand that. He said, then have your little grandfather Clinton and grandma Hillary and Uncle Obama. Let's have a party. Trump hasn't talked about policy ever. Actually, yes, he has. He's talked quite a bit about policy. Some people just don't choose to listen because they rather just mock the way he talks, or make fun of his colloquial way that he talks about things. But he does talk quite a bit about policy. At least we know the policies on. Now he may not be consistent, like he may change what he his policies, but no, he has definitely talked about policy. All right, so I'm gonna put up the next poll, guys. Arto says bull again. Trump has talked about policy, what he's going to do with the borders and our economy. Is your little Kamala not talking another? How about them apples? GJC says evening. Flutterby says, hey, U.S. politics not my thing, so I'm just a fluttering hello. Well, stay by, Flutterby. You can still do our polls. By the way, so the topic is, what politicians would you invite to the cookout? And this, I knew this was going to get divisive, but I wanted to try to keep this fun. And I was just saying, who would we invite to the to the cookout? So I already did my first poll. I say, all right, is Barack Obama invited? So here's the next one. Um, all right, here's the new one. Bomb Cherry says countries come together to try to help with climate change. The Paris Accord. The Paris Accord doesn't have any. The problem with the Paris Accord, Bomb Cherry, is that it has no it has no power to enforce anything. It has no. They've they've neutered every those Paris Accords have been neutered. Like they carry no weight to enforce those things. They're basically just they're basically just a bunch of goals that people would like to that they would set, but there's no binding authority that actually has those countries who agree to the Paris Accords to actually do the very things that they talk about doing. The Paris Accord has no teeth whatsoever. It's sort of like the International Court, like it has no teeth. Bomb Trey says yes. Mark Zuckerberg was censoring way before Biden. That's not what I'm talking about. You keep trying to divert from what we're actually saying. I'm not saying that his platform didn't censor information about other things. That's not the topic. The what was happened was he was specifically told to censor information on those topics of which the Biden administration talked to him about, namely COVID 19 and the Hunter Biden laptop. Those things were given down to him through the Biden administration that he needs to censor misinformation on those things. And what they meant by misinformation was anything that they disagreed with. So, Bomb Cherry says, I was giving strikes way before Biden was in office. If you were against Trump, the platform stopped us from talking. They claimed it was China. Uh, so we're talking before 20. So we're talking before 2016. I mean, no, I'm sorry. So before Biden, um, before before 2020. We're not again. That is a that's an that's a different topic. That's not this topic. I'm saying what Mark Zuckerberg complained about was that they told him he had to censor information coming out about COVID-19. This is why anything you saw something posted, you would see the little fact check thing on here, on YouTube, on Meta, whether it was through Facebook or Instagram. Like they had the little thing at the bottom saying fact checked, blah 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 blah, or PolitiCheck or whatever you called it. Um, yes, but those specific things were being censored. People were getting deplatformed, shadow banned, thrown into Facebook jail, whatever you call it, on all these social media platforms. You say you have no First Amendment rights on sites. You again, you're you're being you're being disingenuous. I clearly stated where First Amendment violations happen. A First Amendment violation is when the government itself censors citizens from their from freedom of expression, speech, religion, etc. When the government comes down to a private entity like Meta and tells them that they must censor information coming out about given topics, that is a First Amendment violation. I don't see where you don't how you don't understand that. I mean, it doesn't take the ACLU to figure that one out. Trump was in office again, different topic. Certain groups don't trust doctors. Okay, you're making it a left versus right issue, and I just don't feed. I'm sorry, I don't feed into that dichotomy. You need to break you need to break out of that. You can't think critically on political issues if you're only thinking from your party or from your political ideology. If you're only thinking liberal versus conservative or Democrat versus Republican, you're not going to be able to think straight on political issues. Um, Michael Archangel says, yes, the left did say that they would not take it when Trump was president. Don't be a moron. When the leftists came to power, they demanded everybody take it, and that's when all the leftists got on the train. Rock and roll, brother. Keep up the good work. Rock and roll, brother. And you said certain groups don't trust doctors. Yeah, that's both. There's groups on both the left and the right who don't trust doctors. Do you forget that there's a lot of black people? There's a lot of people in the black community who don't trust doctors because they're still caught up with the whole Tuskegee experiment that happened 50 years ago. So that not trusting doctors is not unique to one party or one ideology. There's a lot of people who don't trust doctors for different reasons. One, because many of them have a poor bedside manner. Two, a lot of people fear getting checked out because they fear realizing that they're not taking good care of their health, which they already know. Um, and yes, some people are anti-science. Again, the Republicans are not unique in being anti-science. There's a lot of anti-science on the left too, and I can call it out. Let me check the poll for this Trump invited. It's 50-50. So Trump. So with Obama, it was like before I ended the polls, it was slightly more no than yes, and that's according to my very biased sample of people in the chat, because obviously a lot of people who watch my content probably wouldn't be the type that would um, be geared towards Barack Obama, but it is what it is. I'm gonna put up my next one once this poll I think is done. But again, I I don't mind the disagreements, because I mean at least we're being respectful. At least I hope we are. Um, but so like I was saying, it does, like I was saying about Cherry, it censoring people's speech on social media platforms is a First Amendment violation when if it's the government telling those platforms to do so. That's what I was trying to employ to her. That yes, a lot of people do misuse First Amendment um, when they think that their opinions are being stifled, and I would tell people them myself, hey, some working for a company or being on a social media platform and not being able to express certain views is not a First Amendment violation. It's only a First Amendment violation if the government itself is doing it. In this case, it is the government doing it. If the government tells a tech company to censor certain information on their platform, then that is a First Amendment violation. And they do it not, and they don't do it saying because this is in the best interest of the country, but saying, hey, if you don't, then we're going to look to removing Section 230, which will restrict what you guys can do with your companies. So that's a problem. I think that's a problem. Um, looks like the looks like the chat has shrank. Flutterby, are you still here? Like I said, I knew this was gonna be divisive, but I wanted it to be more fun than divisive. I just wanted people to say whom would they invite to the cookout, whether it's the black cookout, the white cookout. the Latino cookout, the Asian cookout, or the indigenous cookout. But I knew people were going to get into all their thoughts and feelings about these politicians as well, which is kind of unavoidable. I get it, but I wanted it to be like it was in the first 30 minutes where we were just talking about different politicians whom we would have. Like I said, Trump is invited because he would be the crazy uncle. Bush Jr. is invited because he would be the fun drunk uncle. AOC is invited because she would be like she's the little cutie that everyone wants to the dance that comes to the party and dances and stuff at the cookout. So she's invited as long as she doesn't discuss politics because no one wants to hear all her little leftist views. um, Bernie can come because Bernie is cool. Bernie can come. Uh, Vivek Ramaswamy can come. Um, who else did I say could come? The uh, the former lieutenant governor of Maryland, Steele. I forgot his first name. He can come. Uh, I'm t- I'm taking the official black ban off of Clarence Thomas and say he can come. I'm taking the ban off of him, saying he can come. Andrew Yang, he can come. Uh, who else? Uh, who else can come? I have to think about it. I know a bunch of people who can't come. Kamala can't come. No way. Nope. She don't want her there. The Obamas can't come. Their daughters can come. Their daughters are free to come, but Barack and Michelle can't. Nope. They can't come. Uh, Nancy Pelosi can't come. Forget her. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she cannot come. No. Mike Pence, he cannot come. Um, uh, Dick, whatever his name is, who was Bush Jr.'s VP, he can't come. Um, Condoleezza Rice, she can come. She likes black men. She can come. Nikki Haley cannot come. She's annoying. No. Um, Elizabeth Warren, she cannot come. We don't need her little pretending to be Indian at the party. No. Rashida Tlaib, no. We don't need her coming. We don't need her talking that free Palestine shit all day long. She's not coming. None of those women from the Congressional Progressive Caucus or whatever they call themselves can come. Don't want them there, except for AOC. And as long as she doesn't talk politics, or she has to go. uh, I don't want any of the other Supreme Court justices there, other than uh, Thomas. Yes, he took bribes, whatever, whatever, but he wasn't the only one. So, and I guess you guys can think of some other people. All right, let me end this poll because I think it's going to be split evenly, even though it's only 4 votes. But this will be my last one. I'm going to start fixing my food. Um, Can you guys see that? Actually, oh, uh-oh, I don't see my chat room. Um, Whoops, I don't see my chat room, guys. I don't know what I did. I just tried to do the poll and then it did that. Let me try to change. Oh, here we go. All right, now I can see it again. Sorry, I. All right, let me catch up with all these chat. Let me catch up with all these comments. I missed a lot. Bomb Cherry says, "Where is Hunter buying laptop? I'm in Delaware." Um, oh, okay. She said, "Yes, information should be fact checked. People's lives were at stake." Yes, but again, the Fauci was giving out false information too, and he lied about doing gain. He lied about funding gain of function research in China. At first, he denied outright that they had never funded gain of function research in, in China. Then he said, "Well, yeah, we did actually fund research in China," but then he wanted to change the very definition of gain of function research because they were caught red-handed doing it. So when misinformation is coming from your own government, you need diverse you need divergent views coming from experts where we can have consensus through public verifiable information, publicly verifiable information, and you know, and um, through research, this peer reviewed. Bomb Chasers, I invite you to have a conversation about this on my panel. You're reading me way after I comment, or you can host a panel. I'm an independent. I might take you up on that offer. Just send me that information in my social, and I'll try to hook something up. Cool G says Trump's always invited. Bomb Chasers, that's what I meant. That's why I said people. You mentioned aside, not me. Bomb Chasers, Trump may grab little girls. Yes, so we'll build. Well, never mind. But first of all, he's never. We don't know he's ever done that. But whatever. I'm not gonna hold. I'm not gonna say someone's guilty of doing something because of something they said privately that gets leaked to everyone. Every guy has said something that women would probably cringe at if they knew they said it like publicly. That's how guys talk. I mean, sorry, sorry, 2024. Here's 1980 calling in. 1980s. Yeah, we used to say a lot of crazy shit. I'm sorry. Um, Asia says howdy. Palm Cherry expressing lies that cause lives dangerous. that and many people died because of it. No, people died. Let's stop the lies. Over 1 million people died because of the spread of the disease. That had nothing to do with information being spread on Facebook. It had to do with a global pandemic. When you have over 330 people in your country. You look at the numbers. Yes, it was bound to be about 1 million people who died. It could have been actually much worse. Much worse. 1 million. Yes, that's a horrible amount of people who died. And I'm sure we've all known people or known of others who've known people who've who were taken by the by the pandemic. But it could have been much worse if it wasn't through the very fast medical technology that we had to come up with these vaccines. Also, if we had much stringent borders, probably would have came in less slowly. But let's not let's not play games and say it was misinformation spread on Facebook that caused these millions of people to die. They were going to die anyway. Most of these people who died were people who were with pre-existing health conditions. Most of them obese. A lot of them died. They were they had morbid obesity. They had pre-existing health conditions. BSK says F former throat goat. Documented 29 versus 60 years old, 1996 to question mark. Bomb Trace says Bernie is cool. Vic is not allowed to my cookout. I, when you say Vic, are you talking about? I guess you're talking about Vic. I like the young guy. Like he has a he's a smart dude. Do I agree with everything he says? No, but he sounds like someone who actually listen to you and give a reasonable response. BSK says RFK Jr., CIA director, OMFG. so so far, people saying 40%. Kamala can come to cookout. 60% says no. Bomb Trace says Clarence is still unwelcome. He's welcome to my family cookout because here's my reasoning for that. All the stuff that people said about him, saying he was like a he was a sellout, he was all these sorts of things. A lot of things that he was against actually helps the black community. Where when he was against all these unalivings of babies, because I can't say the smortion word here on YouTube. Uh, a lot of those things were a lot of those medical procedures were happening in the inner cities for good reason. I mean, these were happening to a lot of younger women, even underage women. So, on top of that, I mean, the former Secretary of Education under Bush back in the 2000s even admitted that there actually is a conservative argument for a smortion, which is namely that if you allow people to undergo these procedures to unaliven their babies, it would actually keep down the rate of crime within these communities. That's a that is a very that is a mm, even though that is true, that is a very harsh stance to take. But Clarence Thomas was against that. Also, he was against affirmative action, even though he was a recipient of it in his younger years when he started his career, because he saw that affirmative action wasn't even being used towards the very people to whom it was intended, which was foundational Black Americans, or in those documents, the freedmen. Uh, Instead, the biggest recipients of affirmative action were white women and immigrants, and even these people who were allegedly black receiving it weren't black Americans, weren't not foundational Black Americans. They were people of Caribbean and African descent. So it wasn't even being used for the original people to whom it was intended. So we can't miss something that we weren't being able to even take advantage of. Another person for timeout time. Pence is a hero for the history books. He saved our democracy. If you say so. Um, he's not invited to my cookout either. I mean, I don't know if you, I don't know what your stance is on religious views, but yeah, his religious views are quite extreme for me. So no thanks. Don't say R.I.P. to him. That was a troll bomb, Cherry. Like I don't know if you read his comment in full, but that was some classic trolling that he just did. And you should know he's a troll because his username is unknown. He was a definitely a troll. She said, "Have a great conversation." No, sorry, this was a great conversation. Have a great night. So she probably left like 5 minutes before I responded to all her comments because, like I said, guys, I lost my chat room for like 2-3 minutes before I could get it back up when I was doing one of the polls. But if she is still here, or if she sees this later on the rebroadcast of this video, if she wants to reach out to my socials, I'll gladly appear on her what was it? Uh, on on her panel. I'm sorry. I guess she has some sort of panel. I'll gladly appear on that if she sees this. BSK says merch timeline prediction. Well, guys, when this hits the 2 o'clock mark, I'm gonna be done, so I can go finish my food up. And like I said, I just wanted this to be fun. I didn't want this to be too contentious, but I know it was gonna become divisive. But if when people watch this on the replay, if they want to add whom they think should be added to the cookout, who shouldn't come to the cookout, if they can leave it in the comment section for me to read, and I'll respond to those. Oh, also, guys, from my still letting people know from 2 weeks ago, my former Filipina guest Christian May. Uh, if people want to donate to her to my super thanks, or they can go directly to my Cash App or Venmo or buy me a coffee. I'm sure most people have Cash App though, but they won't either do that or leave me a super thanks um, to help her out. Then go right ahead and she will receive those funds. Now, if I get it from Cash App, I can release that directly to her. But if it comes through YouTube, I'll just give it to her out of my own money because it takes a little while for the money to get to trickle down to me through YouTube through the super thanks. So if but regardless of what people leave, if they leave $5, $10, $100, it doesn't matter. I'll release that to her the day that I get it through the day that I see it in my analytics that I received that money, even if I haven't, if it hasn't already been released into my account, I'll just go ahead and give it to her to help her out. Cause she keeps asking me about that. I'm like, hey, well, I haven't seen any other donations yet, but I was like, I'll let you know. So, and she hopefully she will reappear on the channel. Unfortunately, and for a lot of people um, who don't have like a internet provider in the Philippines, they have really horrible internet because they get their internet through using Facebook. Like Facebook is their like default internet provider in the Philippines. Um, but they really have a bad internet infrastructure there. So her camera last time she was on a few weeks ago was kind of janky, but hopefully we can get her back on for longer because she was only on for about like 10, 15 minutes last time, and then she had to go to take care of her kids or feed them or whatever. But hopefully we can get her on longer this time around. But if you do, in the meantime, before she comes back on, if you ever want to contribute to her, just let me know. And just let me know, like, when you contribute, either in a comment, you can either leave it through a comment or email, or if you do it through Cash App, you can leave it a note with the Cash App saying, hey, this is for that Filipina girl. Even if you don't remember her name is Krisha May, Krisiame, Krisha May. Now, even if you don't remember her name, just say, "Hey, this is for your guest, the Filipina girl, to help her out since you said she was struggling or something. Here's $5. Here's $3. Here's $10. Here's $100. Whatever." And they'll as soon as I see it, I'll immediately release it to her, either through my own money if it's through YouTube or through the Cash App if people Cash App me. But you can also just send money to me as well, just to help a brother out so I can buy some more fruit snacks and some more iced coffee. Okay. Um, but other than that, I'm about to go, guys. Do you guys have anyone else you would invite to your cookout or not invite to your cookout? Again, like I said, I mentioned people like Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, George Bush Jr., uh, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, um, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, AOC, Bernie Sanders, Rashida Tlaib, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Pelosi, Andrew Yang, um, Larry Hogan, Wes Moore, and whomever else you can think of. Looks like I'm still getting votes. It's like 50-50 for Kamala, which I kind of predicted. But um, in any case, I think I'm gonna call it here unless, like I said, anyone else want to mention a politician. And I think I've checked all my comments in the chat room. Let me just double check. But yeah, if Palm Cherry, if you see this on the rebroadcast, or if you're still here, like I said, I'll be honored to join your panel. Just let me know when and where, and I'll be happy to chime in. Okay. So hopefully Bomb Cherry will see this on a rebroadcast, or I might actually have to check out go directly to her channel after this. So um, that's where I might end this, folks. Thank you for everyone that contributed. To my homie Kenobi who popped in, Flutterby, of course, who's one of my members. And then guys, if you want to be a member like Flutterby, um, I have 3 different membership levels. There's the Contrarian level, the lowest level, which starts at $2.99, I believe. I think it's $2, $2.99, something like that. That's the lowest level. Then the next level up is the best one, the best bang for your buck, which is the Skeptic level. I think that's like what, $4.99, something like that. And the highest level, the rationalist level, is at $9.99. At that level, You know, you're you will be free to come on to my live streams with me, as well as give me topic ideas, and have access to like maybe like the early stages of my content. So definitely worth looking at. And also I do like members only videos and members only post in my community tab. So if you want to be able to see that stuff, you have to become a member. And so far the videos I've done on my members only has been like fitness videos for people who are interested in that. And I'll continue doing more stuff as well. So on that note, guys, have a great evening or a great day, depending on where you are in the world. And again, if you're watching this on the replay, then feel free to leave me a super thanks, like and subscribe, share the video so I can grow this in the algorithm, and you can hit the bell for notifications of future content that I do. And like I said, feel free to leave comments. I appreciate it. And also, you can watch some of my other stuff. I got a whole bunch of other stuff. Have different categories. One just for martial arts training, one for martial arts myths, one for like nerdy stuff of all of. I delve into all sorts of nerdy stuff. One for traveling. So feel free to check all that stuff out, please. That way I can get more hours watched of people publicly watching my content, and I'll be able to then utilize the Google ad revenue. Well, the Google ads will be able to like streamline advertising during and between my videos. So that would be cool. All right, but I'm gonna end it here, guys. I see I got 12 votes, and it's okay. It just changed mid sentence. 12 votes. It's 33% Kamala to the cookout, 67% no. And I haven't voted in any of my polls because when I set up the poll, I can't myself vote in it. So I have not biased the results. So anything, if it goes 50-50, if it goes one way or the other, that's all you guys doing the vote. That's not me. Okay. But all right. On that note, take care, guys. Thank you.